Alright, Shalom. All praises to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This lesson is going to be on the law, statutes, and commandments that we can continue to keep because they are not done away with. Alright. We're going to start with Leviticus 15, verse 16 and 18. Some of you might already know what that verse is. Some of you might not. So I'm going to go to it in the Blue Letter Bible. Sorry, it's just taking forever here. Okay, Leviticus 15, verse 16. And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in water, and be unclean until the even. And every garment, every skin, whereon is the seed of copulation, shall be washed with water, and be unclean until the even. The woman also with whom man shall lie with seed of copulation, they shall both bathe themselves in water and be unclean until the even. So this is Leviticus 15. This is a law on cleanliness, and it's referring to sex. It's talking about sex when a man and a woman have sex together, and a man's seed of copulation go out from him. You are unclean until the even. When you have sex, you are unclean until the even. So what does the law say that you do when your seed of copulation goes from you? Wash all your flesh in water and be unclean until the even. Okay, that's a law that we can be keeping. Everybody can be keeping. That's not a law that's too hard for us to do. We can't keep all the laws. I don't understand how you think we can keep all the law. That's a law that can be kept. All right, and it's about cleanliness. And why is this a law? Why is cleanliness important? Leviticus 15:31. Thus shall ye separate the children of Israel from their uncleanness, that they die not in their uncleanness, when they defile my tabernacle that is among them. So we would be unclean and we would die in our uncleanness and defile the tabernacle. You know, anything unclean cannot enter into the tabernacle. This is the law of him that hath an issue, and of him whose seed goeth from him, and is defiled therewith. When your seed goes from you, you're defiled. Plain and simple. When your seed goes from you, you're defiled. We're going to look at Matthew 22, verse 36 through 40. This is the law. That's part of the law, statutes, and commandments. So now we're going to go to Matthew 26. Oh wait, am I in the right spot? I think, am I in Matthew 22? Sorry about that. Matthew 22, 36 through 40. Okay, yeah, there it is. Alright, Matthew 22, verse 36. Master, which is the great commandment in the law? Yahushua said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. Alright, love the Lord thy God with all thy heart. Alright, the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. So I just gave you a law of a man's seed of copulation going from him in Leviticus 15. And it says, on all the law and the prophets hang two commandments. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, soul, and with all thy mind, and love thy neighbor as thyself. So how is the law of a man's seed of copulation going from him? How do you embody loving the Lord as yourself and loving your neighbor as yourself? We're going to look at Ephesians 5. And verse 28. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself. For no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourisheth and cherisheth it, even as the Lord the church. So, going back to Leviticus 15, any man's seed of copulation that goes from him, he'll be unclean therewith. Verse 18 says, the woman also with whom man shall lie with seed of copulation, they shall both bathe themselves in water and be unclean. So when you love your wife as yourself, you're not going to want her to be unclean any more than she has to be. So when you would love your wife as yourself, and you would follow after this law, so that way you don't want to be unclean, same way you wouldn't want her to be unclean. Alright? You wouldn't want it to be unclean. You wouldn't want your rib to be unclean. Right? And then I think in Ephesians, I have another verse in Ephesians, verse 33. Ephesians 5. Verse 33. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife even as himself, and the wife see that she reverence her husband. So after that seed of copulation go forth from you, you can show that you love your wife and the love the Lord your God with all your heart by following his law and bathing yourselves with water and being unclean until the evening. Okay? Fairly simple. Not something that's impossible for you to do. Now we're going to go to 1 John 5. By this we know that we love the children of God, when we love God and keep his commandments. For this is the love of Elohim, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. All over the word, you know that, and you know what love is. Love is the keeping of the commandments, and his commandments aren't grievous. And we just seen where all the law and the prophets hang on to. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, body, mind, and soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. Okay, this is something that you can do in 2021. You can keep this law in 2022. This is not impossible for you to do. So stop making excuses. Alright, we're going to go to 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. Verse 7. For our power hath not called us unto uncleanness, but unto holiness. Our power has not called us unto uncleanliness, but unto holiness. So that's a law in the law, statutes, and commandments that you can keep, and that everybody can keep. It's as simple as getting up, taking a shower after you have sex, and being unclean until even. Understanding that you have been defiled. And when you get that understanding that you're defiled by your seed of copulation going from you, you're not going to want to be defiled too often. If you understand where I'm coming from. But that's another topic for another lesson. But I hope that was edifying. I hope that was edifying, and I hope you could see that the laws aren't grievous, and they're things that we can definitely do. And I just showed to you how Yahweh Shai told us the law and all the prophets hang on two things: loving the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and loving your neighbor as yourself. In the instance of your man's seed of copulation going forth from him, brothers, you show that woman that you love her as yourself by bathing in water and being unclean until the evening. It's that simple. It's not impossible. Definitely doable. So we give all praises, all honor, and all glory to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We thank him for his knowledge, his wisdom, his understanding, and his law, statutes, and commandments. And shalom. Until the next lesson.